Alright, what's up everyone? Fastball Productions back at it. This is Jay High, and I'm going to start back our YouTube uploads by just kind of going over some Melee data. The first quarter of 2025 just ended this past weekend with Battle of BC. We had Genesis before that. Those are our main two events, so that's what I'm going to be focusing on. And I'm going to try and organize a somewhat of a top 25 for the first quarter, the first 3 months of the year. But that brings me to this 5-layered system I did for the third quarter of 2024 called Mount Melee. Just kind of showing tiers, because I think it's difficult to fully organize people based off of like exact order, but I'd say that a tiered system is a good way to go about it in a shorter time frame. Nikki, Kadoran, Morse, Code, Kem, Kyle McNadator, aka Quang, and Moth. Didn't really see much from them for the first two. And again, I've said in the past that it's hard to judge a short-term season if people don't necessarily consider it a season. A quarter of a year may not have very many events. We saw last year, I think the second quarter was more stacked than the first quarter. Obviously, this year we don't have Collision in the first quarter. It's usually like a March event right after Genesis. And also Full Bloom has been pushed back to this upcoming weekend in early April. So Q1 only had 2 events here. There's a couple people went to other things here, but you didn't see these players to have very much data here. And here's the group I was mentioning: Ossify, Meds, Magi, SUJ, Panda, JoJo, Mare, Malachi, Agent, Max, Logos, and Rockets. You can see some of them through here had pretty solid results, but none of them really broke into like a top 12 or 15 win, I don't think. But they did fine. So, one good run could definitely catapult them up to this top 25 for the next quarter. But for now, I'm going to start with these 3 players: Aklo, Chicken Man, formerly Bobby Big Balls, and Spark. Yeah. Chicken Man being the much more professional tag. Aklo coming off a really hot second half of the year, where I said he was doing very well. I thought that he had a great run. I think it was at Warehouse 4. Either way, he had a very solid Q3, and he finished out the year strong enough to be, I believe, number 8, which is kind of surprising. I expected him to sneak in 9 or 10, but he got 8. And then Chicken Man coming off of a solid top 40 performance, I think, and Spark having a very solid year, especially in the first, first 3 quarters of the year, I'd say. Having some wins sprinkled in, really good pass house. But didn't see much from Spark. This quarter. Spark, he had good results. Genesis 17th, Battle BC 7. That's pretty good. That's one of the better results here. But his wins, he didn't really benefit from upsets in terms of getting good wins. Because he had Graves, who had beaten, which I'll talk about later, beaten a top 10 player. Rockets, I think there was a Fiction DQ. No, JoJo got a pretty good win, I believe. Max, pretty solid. Got some good wins. Null. Like, these aren't bad players, but it's just not the upper echelon that can boost you into the next. Like, these wins don't necessarily... These are expected for Spark. He was top 20, top 15, I think, last year. And so, yeah, I think he was 13. Or 14, something like that. Like, that's not super impressive for Spark. And he can only beat the people that's in his path. I mean, his losses are not bad. Aklo, Josh Mann, both top 10 players. Axe and Aura had a really good first quarter and were solid last year as well. So these aren't bad losses. And I would say it's enough to have him above these players, but not super impressive in terms of what he has shown in the past. Chicken Man had a really good losers run. Had to play Aura and Winners, which Aura had a very good Genesis. So, Panda, SUJ, Ben, Danny Phantom, pretty solid run there. Not quite a win of the next, like the top 12 range, but still pretty good. And Aklo, I mean, we've seen him do super, super well, but just didn't really get, Spark, Panda, Max, Azusa, lost to Moki Triff. That's like, okay, that's fine. Spark is a good win, but not quite in the upper echelon, and doesn't have a ton of data outside of that. So that would be my 5th tier, my 23, 24, and 25. Somewhere in that order. They're alphabetical, but it might be accurate. Next tier. A lot of good players in here. Plup, SCJ, Laud, Junebug, Salt, Zuppy, Crudo, Graves, and None. We saw a lot of craziness with this tier. Plup beating Amsa yet again. SCJ, Moki. Laud beat Amsa as well. Junebug beat Jmook. Salt beats Axe twice and Joshman. Zuppy just got that Mango win. Crudo beat Laud. Graves beats Moki, BC, and None beat Joshman. So these are all players that got at least one win on the top 12, along with some players that are like kind of combined with that. You know, Crudo getting a Laud win, I would say Laud is like, he was pretty consistently top 10, top 12, so I would say he's at that Wizrobe or above level, approximately. Did benefit from having a good matchup against Amsa, but these are all players that got that good win, but didn't quite have amazing results beside of that. Plup only attended Genesis, did well, but besides Amsa, Lucky Slowking, and then lost to Wizrobe and Axe, which is Plup. We've seen a top 5 player, very, very good. So not quite what it could have been for Plup. SCJ coming off a really good year last year, proving solidly that he's second best puff. It's not even really that close right now. There's some other good puffs, but he seems to be pulling ahead. But after the Moki win, Ossify, that's good. I mean, that's like a top 30 or 40 win. Chango and the Ditto, I assume. Goody. That's not bad. And lost to Triff and Axe. Similar to what we saw from Plup with Wizrobe and Axe. That's not necessarily that much worse, but again, you have that one good win, and besides it, not that much. Laud, you have that Amsa win, very solid. I consider Amsa to be like really hard to beat, but currently he's been having it tough. A lot of Game 5 sets. I think he went Game 5 with Meds, which is kind of surprising. You know, I think that some people are holding on to like the second place year. But, I mean, he's still really good, and Laud got that win. Even if it's a beneficial matchup, that doesn't necessarily mean that Laud is worse because of that. But besides that, Gatsu and Mono only got a win on Crudo, so not quite enough, I would say. Junebug, Jmook win, very, very good. Jmook is probably the most inconsistent player. Well, now it might be Mango. But last year, I would say he was most inconsistent. I mean, it was like he had beaten all the top 4, but kept losing like in, you know, top 16. Like he wasn't getting top 8s very consistently, and not because of bad brackets. Sometimes he would just lose. Lost to Joshman again. I'll get to Jmook later, I guess. But Junebug, Jmook good. Then in region Malachi, who had benefited from, I think it was an upset. Yeah, it was supposed to be Crudo, because Salt in Your Eye, the Ice Climbers beat Crudo. So Junebug benefited from that, but then beat Jmook, and then lost to HBox and Cody. I mean, that's not bad at all. So considering having a very tough bracket, that's pretty good for Junebug. Salt's pretty solid. Axe twice and Joshman, that's good. I could see Salt going up in this tier, but you know, the tiers are not necessarily ordered from where I have them right now. I just kind of have them kind of in a group. Zuppy coming off that Mango win, very good. Besides that, though, nothing too crazy. Preeminent wins good. No bad losses, so that's pretty fine. Now these 3 next players I actually had in this tier originally, but I would say that there's enough for them to be in that next, because they did get that good win. Crudo beating Laud, who had just proven that he's, you know, top 10, top 15 level by beating Amsa. Graves, you have with that Moki upset. It was crazy. Besides that, nothing too good. Fizzwiggle's a solid win. Snap, not too bad. But losses to Preeminent and Juicebox, not quite the same echelon as these players here. But again, still very good showing from Graves. Really cool to see him up here in the top 20-ish range. And None having that Joshman win, which doesn't feel that crazy. But, I mean, Joshman was 8th last year. Gotta recognize that. And had a really solid run. Game 5 with Zane doesn't count, but it's a good showing. I think after getting like top 4 at Genesis, being a consistent threat, kind of fell off a little bit last year, but doing pretty solidly. Looks to be, with S2J not having as many results recently, Salt and None solidly second and third in terms of results for Falcon. Zio, can't forget about Zio. He's doing some good stuff. There's a few other Falcons here and there. Gotsu coming back a little bit. But I'd say overall, these two are pretty close. And we have a pretty good character variety for the 4th tier. A lot of floaties in there. And then I have tier number 3. Now this are some heavy hitters. I looked at this just to make sure. This is 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then 9th and 13th. That's a crazy, crazy group to not be in what I would consider to be top 7. You have 3 through 7 all not in top 7 from what I consider for this. So a lot of upsets from these 2 majors alone. Now, elephant in the room. Mango, bit of an early year slump. It happens. We've seen it a lot where he doesn't do great. He had those, Genesis Grand Final streaks, but then besides that, really falling off. Sometimes it was kind of throwing. Sometimes it was just maybe not staying fresh, but still did good. Got a win on Cody, which not surprising, but and also got a win on Lod, which is pretty solid. Mango still did okay. I think that the Zuppy loss seems really bad, but Zuppy beat Amsa, 2 collisions ago? So Zuppy's not a bad player. Zuppy was like top 20-ish. Fell off a little bit. I think he started going Falco some, but switched back to Fox. Very good Fox. One of the best in Canada, I believe. So not a bad loss. Obviously not what Mango expects of himself, but still pretty solid overall. Aura doing very, very well. It's kind of like, okay, is that good for Aura, bad for Mango? It's hard to kind of balance that. HBox loss not that bad. Triff had a tournament run of a lifetime. So besides Cody and Law, doesn't have an amazing list of wins. Salt, Meds, Raiden, Iron, the Leaf. It's okay. I think that's enough to be at the upper part of this tier. But obviously, I'm sure Mango's not satisfied. Being in the 8 to 13 range is probably not where he wants to sit ever since that number 11 for the summer ranking a few years ago. But this is only halfway through the first half, so plenty of time left to change this. J-Mook, after that, did get upset by Junebug, which is not even that bad, though. Junebug is like top 20, really good wins. So I wouldn't say that Junebug loss that's better for Junebug than it is worse for J-Mook. It does have another Josh Man loss, 2 HBox losses, which are, not that surprising in terms of head-to-head. But, yeah. Does have an AMSA win, which I consider to be very, very good. Aura win, solid. Then has a lot of other wins, Osify, Zamu. I think it's Zamu, actually. And then Zuppy, Stiv, Inky, Juicebox, Amarak. That's pretty good. I would say that worse, not as good of wins compared to Mango, but not as bad of losses. So kind of a trade-off there. And then we have AMSA, which I mentioned earlier. AMSA has kind of been struggling a little bit. Got that Wizrobe win, which is good. But besides that, not that good. Plup and Lod, good players, we know that. Cody and J-Mook, of course, being, consistent, like, J-Mook being, I think J-Mook's been top 5 for a long time now. Might have gotten 6th one year, but, and Cody's just been, lights out. So not bad losses there. Also personally kind of demons for him, especially Cody. So tough brackets, but you get the hand you're dealt, and only one good win, but his losses are not bad at all. I would not say these losses are bad for a player in this tier. It's maybe bad compared to the top 2 or 3 that AMSA was at one point, but I think those are some best case scenario. Now we have some worst case scenario. That's what happens when you play a polarizing character like that. But again, Wizrobe win, very good. None in all of these. I could see him being kind of below some of these, but the losses are not bad at all. Sunsei. We got some foxes in a row here. Sunsei. Really cool Sunsei to bring it back. Had a really strong year last year. Kind of fell off near the end, but had a lot of solid wins. Moki and Wizrobe. Good wins. His losses are Cody, Aura, and Axe ×2, which is less bad the farther the season went along, which I mean is only two majors right now, but that's not looking as bad anymore. I think it kind of benefits more off from Axe and hurts Sunsei. Moki, Wizzy, good wins. Magi, also a pretty solid win. And again, Cody, not a bad loss at all. He's beaten Cody in the past, so I'm sure people were keeping an eye out for that. Aura is, doing really, really well this year. So Sunsei having a solid start, I would say, kind of similar to what, this is the 8 through 13 tier. So this is not necessarily new territory for Sunsei, but, I mean, looking at the players he's with, he does seem to be a bit of an outlier, but it's good to see him here. Moki. It is kind of hectic for Moki right now. Did get a top 8 at Genesis. People forget that. I think they're thinking about Battle of BC, kind of falling apart there. But did lose to Graves and Sunsei at Battle of BC. Which, I mean, Sunsei had a great run here. But Moki lost to Graves, which, tied with Mango for Falco. The weapon getting above them. Not necessarily having any kind of special path, but just kind of got beneficial brackets. But Moki lost to Graves and Sunsei, not great. The Graves loss, I think that definitely takes Moki down some. I think it's enough to be above this tier down here, but it's close. I think that his Aura win is very helpful. If he didn't have that win, I think he would be down a tier. Aklo, another solid win. I think that was kind of slept on in Genesis, just because of the craziness. But I mean, these two wins right here are his saving grace. I think if he loses to Aklo right here and doesn't get this win afterwards, then he's probably like down here somewhere. So these wins are super clutch. Getting those good wins is super important. You got to take those opportunities when you're given them, and he did enough to stay in this tier. Josh Man, I think people thought he was a bit overranked, but I mean, hey, got a J-Mook win, also wins on Spark, Chicken Man, Bonfire. I would say that there's a chance that he could go down a tier, but I'd say his wins are solid enough. A J-Mook win is very good. I mean, J-Mook was higher than Amsa. So I would say that's enough, and has more wins overall. So I would say that's enough for him to be above Club just a little bit. Again, the lower part of the tier usually could go to the next one. I would say Josh Man is solidly 12 or 13 right now. A lot of opportunities. He's gotten out of that J-Mook slump. I think he beat H-Box last year. Very good in the Ditto. He's beaten Cody before. Has a lot of potential just to get wins against pretty much anyone. But just unfortunately doesn't quite have enough wins to push him up anymore, but still solidly in that tier. Now, the 4 through 7 tier, the second highest tier. It's kind of crazy. I know some people might disagree with this, but I think there's merit to it. I think that Triff, Aura, Wizrobe, and Axe are top 7 right now. I think that Triff, I mean, that's not super surprising. Getting winners at the Grand Finals, second place at Genesis, you don't do that by accident. Looking at his run, had a very, very solid run. Peaches came out to play here. We saw a lot of success here. And we saw S2J, which, not super crazy, but starts off strong. Aklo, SDJ, very good run. Keeps going. Triff and Wizzy, boom. And unfortunately, lost to H-Box at the very end, but had a very good run to that point. I think that's enough to keep him in that 4 through 7 range. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily meaning he's 4. I think the placing sometimes can kind of make people a bit inflate what actually happens. And obviously, placings are what you look at. Like, your goal is to get a better placing. But usually the wins alongside of that placing are what help you in terms of rank, which is sometimes out of your control. So it gets a little bit of chicken and the egg kind of thing. But I would say Triff is solidly in this tier, no question. Not quite enough to go up, unfortunately. Does have 3 top 12 wins, but I wouldn't say that's quite enough to go up, but I think he's solidly at the top tier. Now, the next person, Aura. What the heck is he doing here? Polar Bear in Texas type stuff. I remember at Egg Dog Invitational, I was disappointed that he didn't have the best bracket. I think he only got like 1 kind of mediocre win and had some close sets but didn't win. And I was like, man, I wish that he had some different sets. He could play some other people. Here's Aura. I mean, the local legend of Oregon coming out and beating Cody, Mango, Sunsei, Spark. Like, boom. That is incredible. Genesis, 9th place. Battle BC, 5th place. One of the best overall placings from both tournaments. And beating 2 and 3 from last year, along with 13, 15, or whatever Spark was. Like, that's incredible. You don't beat 2nd and 3rd in the world on accident. And yeah, Cody's lost to Peaches in the past. Yeah, Mango has a beginning of year slump, but that's not Aura's fault. I mean, I think Aura did incredibly, and I think he's very deserving of saying he's top 7 in the world right now. We'll see if it sticks. I think that it is... He's going to get seeded higher, and he'll get favorable brackets. We'll see if he makes the most of them. Also, not sure how much he can travel. These were both West Coast events. He's in Oregon, so going down in NorCal up to British Columbia and Vancouver, very easy for him to do. So if there's anything like a collision or tipped off, who knows if he'll be able to go. But you know, I think that it's been a very good start of the year. I think that even if other players have a strong quarter 2, he should be in like the top 10 to 15. I think that he's really built himself a solid resume just from the 2 majors he's attended. He didn't, you know, do well at one and bad at the other. That was a big pattern. I mean, you see a lot of top 8 and 17. That happened with Mango, happened with Amsa, happened with Moki, happened with Jmu, got 13th. But like, a lot of people did good at one, bad at the other. He did pretty good at both. And so, I think that Aura is very deserving of this tier. Wizrobe, 3rd place and 13th place. One of those players that, kind of with a lot of these down here, did good, but then not so good. But I'd say that he is still, like, 3rd place at Genesis is not the same thing as a 3rd place at a, you know, like a smaller major, or like a, you know, a large regional. I would say Wizrobe did very well. HBox, Plup, Aura, Fiction, Chango, Zio. Lost to Triff and Sunsei, which, you know, HBox, Amsa, those are not bad losses at all. Sunsei loss brings him down a tiny bit, but that doesn't necessarily hurt that much. I would say that having, you know, these wins, along with not very bad losses, keeps him in this tier. Obviously, we know that he's capable of beating pretty much anyone. I mean, he has great chances against Zane. He beat Plup, which is kind of crazy. I think people don't realize that he was doing very poorly against Plup. It was really lopsided. Got that win. You know, maybe Plup was rusty. Maybe, you know, didn't play his best. But Plup wasn't playing his best. But Wizrobe got the dub either way. Got a win on HBox, who won the events. That HBox win looks really good now. The Aura win looks very good. So I think Wizrobe is solidly in this tier as well. Maybe a little bit below the 2 Peaches, but still in this tier. And then Axe. I did not have Axe in this tier originally. I was a bit surprised looking at his data. I was like, this is really good. The only player besides Cody and HBox to get top 8 at both events. Aura technically got 9th. Wizrobe didn't get top 8 at both. You can look at this. I mean, 7th and 5th, boom. Besides that, you got a lot of nines, a lot of ones next to the numbers here. Like, you don't see a lot of people having these placings. And he didn't have an easy run. I mean, he lost to Spark. Excuse me, not Spark. He lost to Salt in round 1 of top 64. And then clawed back, having a crazy losers run. Frostbite, SFAT, Sunsei, Plup, SDJ. And then lost to Salt again, which is good for Salt. But this losers run, I'd say, is better than those losses to Salt are bad. I'd say it's very good to get a Sunsei, Plup back-to-back. SFAT, not ranked super recently, but he's still good. And then SDJ, second best buff in the world right now. Very good run. And then even, I would say, outdid it a little bit. About the same. I guess that the Plup win's very good. But beat Sunsei again, beat Spark. Had a good run going up to it, being Joshman. Both Joshman and Plup are, I'd say, about the same level of win. I think Plup is, like, obviously the more household name, but he did very well at both of these. Battle BC not being quite as stacked, but placing well at both. And then lost to Zane and HBox, first and third at this event. Can't really do that much better. Maybe he gets a different bracket, he gets to play J-Mook instead, and he gets 4th, but I mean, that's really, really good. And so I think that that's enough. You know, even though those 2 Salt losses kind of bring him down a tiny bit, I mean, Plup, Joshman, Sunsei, twice, Spark, that's really good. I think that's enough to make Axe be top 7. And that's really impressive for Axe. I think that him and Mango both have kind of been through this path of, like, coming back offline and being kind of inconsistent. People surprising you, and sometimes you just lose. Sometimes people outplay you, and that's how it goes. People are getting better and better. But he's bouncing back. He had an incredible run these past 2 majors, and I think he's solidly top 7. Now we have our top 3. Not super surprising, Zane, HBox, and Cody. I have these kind of ordered. It's tricky because Zane has no losses whatsoever, but his wins are not that. He didn't get that much data. I mean, 2 wins on number 2, but besides that, Aura, Axe, none, and the weapon. That's not anything that's going to go super crazy. I think just by having no losses and 2 wins on number 2 from last year, along with Aura, Axe, that's good enough to keep him there. But you gotta give huge props to HBox. First and third, these first 2 majors, and I was looking at it earlier. He had some favorable matches, but they were not easy. I mean, look at these wins: Mango, 2 J-Mook, Joshman, 2 Triff, Wizrobe, Salt, Axe, Junebug. Like, that is really, really good. That's a lot of wins. Now he has 3 losses, 2 to Cody, 1 to Wizrobe. So I would say that even though he has those wins, Zane is probably a little bit ahead, but really, really good. Wins on 3, 2 on 5, 9, 2 on 11, and 12. Like, a lot of really good wins. And these players are Wizrobe and Triff, I think, are both top 7 right now. So that kind of goes up a little bit. I would say that HBox is solidly 2. Cody, I mean, has 2 wins on HBox, Moki, Amsa, Sunsei, Junebug. Like, that's really, really good. The Aura loss kind of takes him down, but I think that's more beneficial for Aura. The Mango loss looks worse now, but I mean, it's Mango. Like, you can't say that, like, oh man, Mango's a top 10 player, such a bad loss for Cody. It's okay. Like, Cody loses to Mango a lot, and because Mango is really, really good. He's inconsistent. So I would say that Cody being the one non-event winner in this tier brings him down a little bit. And even though he has good wins, he has more wins than Zane, but I think that Zane not dropping any sets is very valuable. Now, these 3 are all very close. I mean, this is first, second, and third of Battle BC. It could be any order going forward. I can see that 4 through 7 is a bit, it's a bit fragile. I think that these players, and even a few of these down here, I mean, you can see Aklo shoot up like he did last year. You can see Pluck go crazy and win an event. You can see Junebug get more wins. You can see Laud if he shows up. Any of these players in this tier as well. I mean, any of them could get 3 wins on these 7 or each other the next event. So there is so much potential for this to shake up. We got Full Bloom this weekend. We got some other events coming up as well. Eventually, Collision tipped off some of those events. So by no means is this any kind of final. I just made this because I wanted to see how, if I put the data together, how I think it would look like. And I think this is a pretty solid list for the first quarter of 2025. Top 25 here are all very good players. A few surprises, but I mean, when you beat a top 5 player, you're going to be up there. So props to these players for getting it done, and I'm excited to see more. So thank you for watching, and if you got any ideas for future videos, be sure to comment that in the, be sure to leave a comment below. We have a Discord as well. I'm also going to be working hard on a video coming up that I think will be pretty interesting. A little bit different than what I'm doing, not really video game related, more so about some traditional sports. So stay tuned, and yeah, thanks for watching.